Hi and welcome to my channel. This channel is all about developing an extraordinary mind, an extraordinary business and extraordinary wealth. So today's video is all around the 12 essentials to a perfect business. However, mainly it will help you by looking at the list mitigate the risk of an existing business or a business that you are considering going into. So without further ado, let's cue the intro and go from there. Okay, welcome back. So today's video is all around the 12 essentials that you need to have in place if you want a perfect business. Now, I'm sorry to disappoint you right at the beginning of the video, but I don't believe there is such a thing as a perfect business. Some businesses will have a lot of these items, but it's probably almost impossible to have every single one. However, that doesn't avoid you trying to move forward in a certain direction if you're missing one of these essential items or mitigating against it as much as you possibly can. So it's around trying to get all of these 12 points into place. So step one, the business should absolutely satisfy your own needs. I mean, if you're going to be working 40, 50, 60 hours when you first start up a business, it should meet both your emotional needs, in other words, you enjoy the work of the business, and also it should meet your financial needs over time, even if it doesn't necessarily do so in the first place. So satisfying your needs is important, because if this is your only business, it's absolutely essential that's the case. The business should have minimal overheads as much as possible. So employees tend to be quite a big overhead, but you may be looking at production costs, all sorts of things. But looking at the overheads is important, because obviously overheads eat into profits, and therefore the lower the overheads, the better. And it's something that all good business owners control all of the time anyway. A hungry crowd. So yeah, you can have the greatest restaurant in the world, but if no one's hungry, what's the point? So a strong demand for your product or service is absolutely essential, and the more the demand and the more hungry the crowd is, the easier it is for your business to grow and be profitable. So a hungry crowd and a need for the product or service, and the bigger the need, the better, and that's what you have to identify right from the beginning. A worldwide market. Yeah, you don't want to be limited to just your own country. If the business is going to scale, then the bigger the market, obviously the better. That may mean that the competition increases, of course, but you really want a worldwide market, because if something happens in your own country for whatever reason, then you've still got overseas sales and things like that to consider. So if that's a possibility, great. If you're in a business like my financial services business is around inheritance tax in the UK, well, frankly, we can't do it anywhere else because the rules and laws state that. But to be fair, there's enough clients just in the UK for that. Cannot be copied. Now, cannot or difficult to. That's the main point. You don't, otherwise, if it's too easy to compete with you, then frankly, people are going to be undercutting you all the time, and then it becomes a price race, which isn't what you want to be in. So in an ideal world, a product is unique, and you can copyright it if that's the case. And obviously there are countries who even undercut those copyrights, but as much as possible, can't be copied is a good thing to have in place when you are launching or running a business. Free of regulation. So this is a big thing. So if you've got lots of regulations in your company, yeah, okay, that is a barrier to entry to some degree, but it affects the overheads to quite a high degree. And generally speaking, dealing with any sort of regulation, frankly, is frustrating. Once again, in my financial services, probably there is no business that's as highly regulated as that, and there's an awful lot of rules by which we have to go by. So as free of regulation as possible makes life a lot easier and gives you a lot more width and a lot more determination as to how you can go and innovate and so on and so forth. So that's an important point. Low initial capital. Okay, if it's not your first business, or you happen to have an awful lot of money or a lot of investors, then great. And sometimes a big capital investment into a business is a barrier to entry. But for people who are starting out in and on themselves on their own small businesses, then low capital to go in is a good thing. So examples of that are like consultancy businesses. Well, the overheads are really low. In a lot of cases, the regulation's really low, and the costs are literally, it's all in your head if you've got a unique consultancy. So the costs are low. You've got marketing costs, obviously, but generally low initial capital outlay. Easily relocated. Yeah, you don't want your business tying down your life. If for whatever reason you want to move to a different country or a different part of the country, you want to go and work on the beaches in the South Seas, then fine. That should be a criteria for you. And if you think that's likely, you should be looking at a business that's easily relocated. And again, if you're in production and that kind of things, different parts of a country will have lower costs, and therefore sometimes also your business may depend upon other types of businesses, and if they relocate, is it better for you to relocate? So being able to easily relocate is a criteria, and certainly something that one should look at. Okay, next one. Can scale. Well, if a business is going to be successful, unless you just want a lifestyle business where it's you and a couple of staff and it's bringing you in sufficient money for you to live well. But to be fair, there are some businesses that make a couple of million with 2 or 3 people. But generally speaking, being able to scale a business, having more customers and selling more product will generally increase profitability, providing it's done right. So it needs to have the ability to scale is the point that you need to consider in your business. Not dependent upon you. So this is a downside of a lot of consultancy companies. So yeah, low initial capital, but if you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, if you're a person that's got a specific set of skills that's quite difficult to replace, then the business will quite often rely on you, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because you've got a family, you've got a life, you've got other things you want to do, and if it's all about you, and if you become ill, how does that business continue? So again, if your business is dependent on you, then think about, are you insured sufficiently well that if you do become ill, that money is continuing to come in to cover the needs of the business, not only yourself. Fast payments, I've obscured the word why, but fast payments is brilliant, because cash flow is always king. It's always making sure that money's coming in and you're not having to wait weeks or even months to get paid. So especially when you're in a startup type environment, cash flow and making sure that money is coming in as fast as possible. And in an ideal world, is it possible to even get paid before you carry out the work or deliver the product? that's brilliant, because you're in an even better position, because people can even subsidize the way that your business operates if you're paid, including your profit margin, before product is shipped. Repeating income. So for me, this is massive. It's all about doing the work once and getting paid forever. So if you, for instance, write a book, that has ongoing royalties. If you write a piece of music, one of my clients in the past was a musical director, and he wrote musical scores for films, and will expect to leave his children an income stream of more than $1 million, and that's an income stream, not capital. So ongoing payments, ongoing royalties, mobile phones, those kinds of things, Sky subscriptions, anything that keeps income coming in without you having to resell it again is a very good little business. So if you're a plumber, do you service boilers on an ongoing basis? So building in servicing schemes and things where you continue to get paid is really good, because you then don't have to worry about making new sales all the time. So ideally, make the sale once and get paid forever is the ideal scenario. Okay, so there's the 12 essential items. So your business will have, the more of your business has of these, the better off you are. But if you haven't got one particular item, what do you do about it? And that's really the last point. And this is really the point of the video. Look at the list, look at the risk. If you haven't got an issue, if you have got an issue with one of these things, how do you get around it? So if the business is dependent on you, can you train somebody else? Maybe it's going to take years. Maybe it's better off training 2 people rather than 1. How do you split it down? Can you build in repeat income? Can you spread your market? Can you increase the number of people that are looking for it? So it's about looking at all of those things, saying, what haven't we got in our business, and should we mitigate the risk of not having that particular point, is what I'm trying to get for you from this video point. But there's the list. Do a screenshot, save it, check it yourself, make sure that you've reduced the risks on your business, because that's so important. It'll just make sure that you keep going. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed that video, please give us a like down below. You'll find some links to our website down below, which will have a lot more of this type of information, and also some tools to help you with your business. Hope you enjoyed it. Look and subscribe, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Thanks, and bye for now. Thank you.